And on the call today, Will Fleming and our next guest, Will Middlebrooks. Hey, Will.
Hey, what's up, guys? I really wasn't expecting to be hitting the air guitar this early, but I appreciate it. Good play on the Stevie Ray Vaughan. I love it.
What was there a reason why you decided you wanted to walk up to that back in the day?
So I grew up listening to that music with my dad. That was his favorite song, Texas Flood. So it was for my dad.
Oh,
yep.
Awesome.
That's nice.
Awesome. And it is early there, so we thank you for getting up this morning.
Mm-hmm.
How is the chemistry, by the way, coming along between you and Will? Have you guys been working on it?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, we obviously haven't done outside of spring training games together, but we've had a good relationship. Obviously, we got to know each other really well last year, so we're fired up. I know this is obviously, changing the guard a little bit with Joe retiring and taking a step away. So I know Flem is really excited to get going. I think the two-wheel thing is weird for people, so we're going to go with Brooksy for me. I think that's a little easier.
All right, okay. I like that. So Will and Brooksy on the call.
There you go.
Brooksy, so let me ask you this as a guy who's played in the major leagues. What is like the thing that's easiest to get into first? Is it the pitching or is it the hitters? Like who adjusts earlier, the pitchers or the hitters?
Well, I mean, once you get to spring training, I mean, the pitchers are always ahead of the hitters just because pitchers can throw bullpens. It's not really a timing thing for them they don't have anything to really combat other than throwing strikes, right, and building up their arms. So I think that kind of bleeds into the regular season. Once you get probably 2 weeks in, I think everything's pretty even. But the way that they're managing players now in spring training, they're not really babying the starters in anymore. Like these guys are playing 6 innings from the beginning of spring. It used to be like, all right, go get your 2 at bats and take it to the golf course or the beach, whatever, go hang out. But they've kind of found out on the strength and conditioning side to like get these guys in there, get them going, get them into a routine. So hopefully, with these guys having 40, 50 at bats under their belt, they're up to speed and they're ready to go.
Alex Cora on this station yesterday afternoon seemed to suggest that Raffy Devers is on board with DHing. Is that something that you think could come up again during the season, or do you feel like he has accepted what's going on there?
No, I don't think so. And just being around the team and being in the clubhouse and watching him, because that's something obviously. As an ex-player, I want to watch his interaction with not only Alex Bregman but other players, because especially the young guys. Because if you have a veteran that's not happy about a situation, a lot of times they just kind of keep to themselves, which Raffy has not done at all. Not once. He's been himself. He's been smiling. He's been happy. He's been getting his work in. And I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. And I think a lot of that falls on the shoulders of Alex Cora and his relationship with Rafael Devers, and I think winning is number one, and it's got to be number one, and it'll continue to be that way.
Will, as a former third baseman, was this the only decision for Alex Cora? Like, was this the correct decision in putting Bregman at third base? And we've gone back and forth about it. Wiggy's been on this from the beginning. Do you think that for Raffy, DH is almost a demotion? Do guys not like DHing?
For Raffy, I think it helps him stay engaged in the game. And I feel when I went through my career and I would have DH days, it felt like a mental day off just because third base, you're getting missiles hit at you, So it's like it was good for me mentally to have it, but I was never a full-time DH. But back to the decision as far as of course, this was, I don't want to say an easy decision, but if you're looking at like who's the better defensive player, it's obviously Alex Bregman. But you do have to manage the human beings too. And I think that's something that Alex does really well is managing the personalities in the locker room. And that obviously took a little time to get Raffy to come around to the idea of not playing third base. And look, Raffy had really improved at third base. He's put a lot of work in with Alex and the infield crew here. And it wasn't the errors that were the issue. Like, he made 12 errors last year. Bregman made 10. It wasn't the errors. It's the balls that Raffy couldn't get to. And if you start looking at the defensive metrics, balls right at him and balls to his right, so towards the third baseline, he was actually in the plus numbers. But to his left, towards shortstop, it was like a negative 12, right? And those are the numbers where you look at his overall metrics and you're like, wow, this guy stinks. It's not that he's booting balls. The balls he gets to, he's actually pretty good. But the lack of range is what killed him metrically.
Will, you were on the last to first team 2013 that won the World Series after the disastrous Bobby V year. When that year did you know the team was a little bit different, and what have you witnessed with this team with the addition of Bregman and the addition of Crochet as you watch them begin their season?
Yeah, so as soon as Johnny Gomes and Mike Napoli and all these guys walked through the door, Shane Victorino, I mean, the list goes on and on. We had a super veteran team. You combine those personalities with Pedroia, Ellsbury, Poppy, Lester, all those. It was just like the perfect storm. So honestly, from day one, I was like, okay, I know it's only my second year in the big leagues, but I've been on a lot of baseball teams in my life. This is different. And I think that whole thing changed when Alex Bregman walked in the door this year, because he's that guy. And we talk about the influence that Bregman has on the younger players, and Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell, who obviously made the team, Roman Anthony spending all this time with the young players and molding these guys, which is very important to creating a winning culture. And I like that he's doing that too, because that means like he realizes these guys are going to be a part of the team in the coming years, and he has some opt-outs in his contract, obviously. So it's like, all right, if he's really cares about these young guys, maybe he really does want to stay here. But what he does for the middle area players, or even the veteran players like the Trevor Stories and the Ref Snyders, it takes pressure off of other guys to be leaders too. So it's when you can spread that around the room, and all of a sudden there's a room full of adults now, and not just a bunch of young guys with 2 or 3 years in the big leagues trying to run a clubhouse. It completely changes the tone. And Bregman is a winner, and that goes back to, his first full season in the big leagues. Who was his bench coach? Alex Cora. So Alex has really molded this guy into just a baseball lifer, and that is really contagious when you're under the same roof with a guy like that.
Well, you brought up Garrett Crochet. He obviously was looking to get a new deal done by the start of the season. They're not there. If you were in the front office for the Red Sox, would you give this guy a new deal, knowing that if he goes out there and he has the season what they expect, that price tag can go through the roof?
Yeah, so this is a tough one. That's a great question. I think if I'm in the front office, I think if I offer him like a 5-year 125, if I'm Crochet, I take that. But also in the same breath, he's 25. He wants to bet on himself, and that price could go way up if he go out and he's a top 2 or 3 in Cy Young voting, or wins a Cy Young, which he has the stuff to be that guy. That you take that risk if you don't get a deal done of that price skyrocketing. But that's a good problem to have when he's wearing your jersey. So the issue there lies is health, right? He has this big history of arm issues and that comes along with throwing 100 miles an hour. He's only been a starter for really one full season. So I can understand Breslow kind of holding back on that. It's one of those things where you can see both sides. Like, yeah, extend the guy, he's a stud. Or, okay, let's wait and see because his arm could fall off. So I like trying to offer him a deal, like I said, like I think 120, 125 is a very good deal for both sides. But you probably have a player that knows how good he is, and he's going to bet on himself.
So you think, because you said earlier, if you were him, you would take that.
I would,
because he's making 3.
I have 43 career homers, bud.
If you were not Will Middlebrooks.
I know.
If you're Garrett Crochet, you would take it.
Yeah, I think so. Just because, it's not like at the end of that deal you're 30, and you probably still can get another 4 to 5, maybe 6-year contract after that if you've proven to be healthy. But let's say he blows out halfway through the season this year. It's like, all right, what does the contract look like after you come back from a second arm surgery? So that's when, if I'm him, I'm laying in bed at night staring at the ceiling. Oh man, should I? And this is assuming, I don't know if he has an offer or not. I feel like we would have an idea at some point in this world that the news would get out and we would know that there was an offer. But if there was an offer there, that'd be a really tough one if you're Garrett Crochet.